What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Chop Sports Fight Factory, brought to you by Dudes Gourmet and the Feel Good Factory. I am your host, the Reverend Tommy D, joined with me by my favorite co-host, Rasslin Rob. We got Dave Sturcio behind the glass, and with us in studio, we finally have video for the blessed one.
Of course.
MLW and Warrior Champion KC Navarro. What's going on, bro?
Not much, man. You know, just blessed. You know, chilling here.
Already with
yeah, come on, Dave. You know.
Hey, man, he's living the gimmick.
I see that shit. You can tell by the belts. Listen, I mean,
belts, the chains.
he's
I'm a
making
Heat fan,
it
I'm
rain.
blessed.
All this sorts of gold and silver and
Do
platinum.
they go everywhere with you? Everywhere? If you go to Quick Check, are they coming out of the car?
No, it's a lot to
Now,
carry.
when you're driving on the highway, can you go in the HOV lane? Are they?
Yeah, because they're
passengers?
each a person.
They're
They're my two
passengers.
babies.
Ah, perfect.
Did you see a
3
lady?
plus.
A lady the other day really tried to do that. She's like suing North Carolina or something because she
No,
was
I haven't.
pregnant and
Oh, my
they
God.
tried to give her a ticket. And she's like,
course,
"No way,
of course,
this is
of
a
course.
baby."
She's not wrong.
She's
not wrong.
She's not
Right,
wrong.
especially in today's world. That's,
Right.
Anyway,
Moving on.
For everybody that doesn't know, Destruction Dave over there used to actually hang out with this young gentleman over here.
hang out. That's a very loose.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? I met him when he was 15, I think.
and
right?
probably
And
a foot taller
he
now.
was a
Actually, no, I was 14 when you met me because I
14
wasn't wrestling
years old. That's right. So 14, and you were in the I have to think. HFD. What the hell was the backyard fed called?
Oh, HAW.
Okay.
Oh, another backyard wrestler.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where it all
Yes.
started. And when I tell you, he would come up to me at my merch table when I had my merchandise and stuff, and I was selling my shirts. He would come up to me and be like, "Yo, check this out." He would show me like the YouTube of his backyard fed, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, "Man, can you just join a fucking school already? Like, can you like real? Because he's good." And I saw him. I was like, he can move. He's fast.
Yeah.
He can talk. He's got charisma. He's cocky for whatever reason at the time. And
yeah.
he was doing this thing, and I was like, you know what? He should probably just do it, but age restrictions and stuff like you had to wait it out, and but I think the rest unfolded, man, for you at least.
Yeah, man, it was crazy. I like Dave said, I used to go to all the PWS shows, and I used to go up to him and be like, "Oh, what up, Dave?" Because he used to tag with the Big O, and I was a big Zack Ryder guy at the time, so
How was Broski? I was an honorary Broski.
Yeah,
at
he
the
got
time.
the honorary Broski award. So yeah, I used to always go up to Dave when like Big O wasn't there. So and he would just always tell me, "Man, it's time, man. Like, why don't you like start wrestling in high school when it's time and you can like when you're of age, like go sign up." And I remember I started wrestling in high school, and then there was like an open house at the PWS school, and I told my friend, I was like, "Hey, man, like screw it, like let's go, like let's just see what it's about."
Tyler? No.
Yes.
Yeah, bro.
Yes.
I got a fucking.
He's gonna
Elvis
pop
brain.
huge now. Congrats, Ty. You made it.
I do remember. Is he a rapper now?
No,
Oh, I thought he like got into rap or whatever. I don't know. I
no,
could
he
be
should stay away from a microphone. Anyway, I love you, Ty.
wrong. Under the bus.
Anyway, we went there, and I just remember like just really like, man, I want to do this so bad, but I just knew you had to be 18. And I was just turning 15 at the time, or I was 15. And I remember after the whole thing was done, I went up to Pat Buck, who ran it, and I was like, "Hey, man, listen, this is all I want with my life. I've been bullied my whole life, and this is all I want. Like, what can I do to be here?" And he was like, I guess he heard the passion in my voice at the time, and he was like, "If you can get a parent to sign you up, I'll let you come in. If they sign a waiver, I'll let you come in." And I was like, "Man, okay." And then I remember I blew my knee out, amateur wrestling, and I was out for a few months. And then it was, I want to say, April of 2015, I met Roman Reigns, who at the time, and probably, you know what, I don't care, still is an idol of mine.
Yep, the
And-
tribal chief himself.
Yeah, man, he's the champ too. He gets it. He gets it. Yeah, say it loud, say it proud.
We're going to Raw the 25th, dude.
There you go,
We're going
Stark,
Raw
there you
next
go.
week for no reason whatsoever.
So I met Roman, and I kind of told him what's up. He was my idol, and I want to be a wrestler. And he told me to never let anybody stop me from chasing my dream. And if I believe I can do it, to go after it. And as soon as I recovered from my knee injury, they happened to have another open house on May 4th of 2015. My grandfather took me, signed me up. May 5th I started, and May 23rd I made my debut.
Bang,
Nice,
bang.
dude.
Boom, boom, boom.
Wait, were you your debut was that not at Creative Pro?
No, it was at the Rookie Rumble.
I thought it was Creative Pro.
Nah, the Rookie Rumble. The
Oh,
Double
you know
Trouble Rumble.
Yes, you were
What a
right. I
nifty
wasn't with
name.
the company at the time.
You
Remember,
were
I
not
was
there.
fired. I was.
He was fired.
Pat
He was
Buck
gone.
fired me. Let's all like. Everybody knows this already. It is common knowledge. I got a little too ahead of myself, and I thought I was the shit, and nothing that I did was ever wrong. So Pat was like, "Cool, there's the fucking door." I
Was
like,
it after
"Oh,
the
nice."
video I saw when I'm like, dude, you're pretty over for that one time?
It was literally for that
And
one
you,
time.
well, no, you were, but you were like,
I know.
yo, I
Well,
went
it's
into the
actually,
locker room.
matter of fact, I beat up Buster Jackson in a squash. Right,
Right.
And then
The fans were going nuts, dude.
My ego got ahead of me, and I was like, "All right, so what's next? A title shot? What are we doing?" You know, like, and they're like, "No, actually, just kind of go back to class and see what's up." And I was like, "But I'm fucking Dave Destruction. Like, what are you talking about? There's no reason for me to be acting this way." And Casey knows, like, when you're coming up, your head just like it's a level
Well,
up.
yeah, I
from-
mean that's a story that you hear with a lot of these legends where they say some of these guys
just
came in. That's what
decided,
happens.
I was like, all right, fuck this. I'm gonna wrestle for Rob Fury.
Yep.
And for SWF, brother. And then I went over there. I'd had one match, and then I was like, fuck this. I want to be an announcer. No, I went back to WrestlePro 2016, and the rest was history.
How do you not have an ego though? Seriously, how do you not have an ego?
Because
What's-
you know what, you're well, he'll tell you, but
But you're starting out, you're gonna have an
around
ego.
all these guys that have been there, that have walked the walk, that have had matches for. My first pair of wrestling boots were given to me by Dan Moff, and Dan Moff goes to me, he's like, "You know where those boots have been?" I said, "No." He goes, "Japan against Punk, against this guy, and these are your boots now." And I'm like,
You fit in Danny Moff's boots.
"Yeah, we're about the same size."
Filling
I'm a little
shoes.
taller than him. His lifts were about this big. I had to like actually trim him down a little bit. Shout out to Big
So
Bob
look,
on
so
that
you
one.
start in 2015 at the Rumble, right? You say. So you're still in high school though.
Yeah.
Correct? What grade? What grade?
I
we're
was
talking
a
maybe?
sophomore in high school.
So what do you like? What did anybody think? Like it's just a joke that like this is just some crazy kid in high school who wants to be a professional wrestler. It's never gonna happen.
So I was bullied like from the time I walked into my new school. I'm in Touch in high school, calling you out.
Call 'em
in
out,
fifth
dude.
grade. Bullied right off the bat because the first outfit I wore, I'll never forget it, was the 2008 green and yellow John Cena merch. It was the hat, the wristband,
All
the
of it.
shirt. The jean, I had everything
All
on.
of it.
I didn't care. That was me.
You
right?
can't see me.
Oh, they saw me all right. They couldn't miss me. They couldn't miss me. And I heard it every day, and it was like bad, man. Like, I mean, there were times where I just wanted to. Because
Yeah.
it was just too much, man. And like I had no siblings, or my siblings that I had were like babies. I mean, that's I had
So
no one to run
Your
to.
dad was in the military too, right?
father
so
was
you
in the
was
military.
not home, right, at all. It was
He
just
wasn't
you-
home, and at that time, yeah, he was in the military at that time. By the time I started wrestling, he was out of the military. But like, you have to think from like fifth grade to like
Yeah, man.
sophomore year. That's a long time.
a lot of time.
And you know, I was hearing it every day. None of the girls wanted to date me because if they did, they were going to be falling into that category. And it was just terrible. Nobody wanted to mess with me. I had no friends. I mean, the only time I had fun was in the summertime. I'd be in my trampoline pretending I was at WrestleMania. Like that was the closest thing I had to having any type of joy at that time. But once I started training, I still don't think people took it serious. It wasn't until like 2016 or 17 when a poster was put up in Metuchen and I was on the front of it. And that's when they were like,
Yeah.
this is real. Like this kid's really, really doing it. And I remember graduating high school, and the last thing I said to everybody when I was
Why the
walking
poster
down-
was up?
No, the poster wasn't up. That would have been fantastic.
Oh, man.
But I remember my high school graduation. I was excited because I couldn't stand being in school anymore. And I remember walking down to go get my diploma, and it was almost like everything went in slow motion. It was like a movie. And I remember just looking up, seeing my family. Everybody else got a standing ovation from like everybody in the stadium except for me. It was just my family going, yeah. And I'm like, all right. And it's probably gonna be the story of my career is what I thought. And you know, I was walking down. I remember just looking at everybody, and I just kept saying, take one good last look. That's all I kept saying to them. And, you know, many people call me cocky for that, but I just knew I had something to prove. I had a lot to prove to a lot of
Well,
kids.
I mean, what did they expect you to do? Like, you got fucked with the whole time that you're there. Where they expect you to just be graceful and be like, bye.
Right.
It's crazy how like when
Now
we,
they're the ones eating hot dogs, watching you
Yeah.
jumping off the top
Follow
rope.
me on Instagram, and I don't follow them back.
I wouldn't either.
Bastard.
I wouldn't. But it's crazy how like when we were growing up, wrestling was like this cool thing. Like everybody loved it.
Still
and
kinda
then-
cool.
No, I think it's bro. Listen,
all right.
you ain't telling me. I would do whatever. But now it's like when kids your age grew up, it was like nobody wanted to watch
Yeah.
it, or it was like you weren't cool if you watched
it
it.
was
I just
stupid to everybody at the time.
Don't understand when.
What
it
year were you
changed.
born?
99.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the.
So
'cause
he
when
was in like, so by the,
the
time
beginning
he
of the
started
PG
watching,
era.
Yeah, the PG era was around that turn. And by the way, tonight, if you're watching, TV14.
TV14, I heard.
They
I've been hearing about
retracted
this.
that.
What?
They retracted that hours after it had come out. It's going to happen,
Oh,
but
God.
somebody
Slow
released it
build.
a little bit too soon.
Yeah, they don't know.
This is the problem with the internet. With
All
your
right, you're
Dave
right.
Meltzers and Saps, you step out of fucking line and you ruin it. Didn't anybody learn from, what's his name, from MMA Junkie, Ariel Helwani? You don't announce something that serious that the boss should be the one announcing.
Yeah.
That's Do-Rag Vince's spot for him to come out.
Told you.
say,
Told you.
Tonight, we're going to be
good
TV
shit.
14.
Anyway, so
No more PG era.
so
So yes, it wasn't cool when he was coming up.
Yeah,
wrestling,
not at all.
wrestling lost its luster because the Attitude Era was at its peak, and then all of a sudden it was like.
Well, also the wrestling world took a big hit when that shit with Benoit went on.
Yeah,
Like,
but even then, it's just like it just wasn't cool, and that he was coming up in a harder
yeah,
time.
that's
I
true
think.
though. It was a totally different era.
I wasn't really watching much then either. That's when I was just like hardcore with the MMA and the UFC.
Sure.
But I mean, I'm glad I'm back with it now.
Welcome back.
Yeah, you know what really brought me honestly? Like I watched
KC Navarro, brought me back to wrestling.
I watched,
Blessed.
like I would watch, sparingly, and I would guest host on a show sitting ringside. Sure. And the guy from Fight Book was like, "Listen, I know you like wrestling, so would you cover MLW for me?" And all I'm thinking is just I'm going to watch it and write an article. Next thing I know, it's like, "Hey, here's your press passes for Philadelphia." I'm like, "Oh shit!" So the first person I called was Dave because I'm like, "Who do you know at MLW?" Because apparently I'm going to be covering him.
This
He goes,
is pre you, by the way.
yeah.
So.
Well, no,
okay.
that's what he said. He goes, well, my boy KC Navarro is going to be there. And next thing I know, I'm looking down the card. That was the night that you were in that 6-man tag with EJ and Duca.
Oh, the 12
and-
man, the random
yeah.
12 man that they put together. Yeah, yes, I remember
So anyway,
that.
back to the start of the journey.
So hold on.
yeah.
Talk to me about like after that when you go to try out for Evolve the first time.
Ooh.
Who's there?
So it was so the Evolve things were kind of like just like training seminars. I only took it for the experience. Obviously, everybody wanted to get on the show, but it was like a 1 in a million chance anybody was going to get. Like, think about it. There's 100 guys there, only one was going to.
So that's something you don't get invited
year
to.
was
That's
that?
something like you got to find out about.
Oh yeah, you had to find out about it. You paid for it.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
What year was that?
That was in 2019. No, yeah, 2019 because I just started doing the Blessed thing at the time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just started doing the blessed thing.
Well, yeah. Well, he did.
I just became blessed.
You were
I wasn't
you,
blessed
you
before.
started off with like you weren't always KC Navarro. It was like Christian
No, it was
Navarro,
Kid
and then it
Christian.
was Sky,
Oh,
Sky
yeah,
Reaper.
Christian Navarro. Yeah, you're right.
Sky
wow.
Reaper, bro. I do my homework, bro.
Yeah. Christian Navarro, then Kid Christian. Yeah.
And then you go to the Sky Reaper thing, and
Right.
then you're trying to work the Blessed thing out.
Right.
Now that's what's working. What's
Do you feel
what
most,
you are now? Though.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
100%.
do you feel most comfortable doing this? This is almost you dialed up.
Yeah,
It's you,
For
I
the
think.
first time, I feel like it was something that I was able to pick. I was able to go, I want to do this. I know this is going to be me. I know this is going to work. Because when I was Christian Navarro, I was just starting. I didn't know who I was. And then it was when I did a Creative Pro Show, a birthday party.
Yeah, I remember
and right
that.
before I went out, Pat looked
birthday
at me and
party?
goes, why don't you call yourself Kid Christian? Can I curse on this?
Yeah,
I
sure, bro.
fucking hated that name. I hated it so much. And I was like, but my trainer said to call myself Kid Christian. Screw it. I'm Kid Christian now. And then like I didn't know where to go with that either.
I think Kevin still calls you Kid Christian.
Yeah.
In reference when he's talking about you, he's like, yeah, I got Kid Christian. They're like,
Exactly.
"The fuck?"
And I didn't know what to do with it. And then I was like trying to figure out ways. They're like, all right, you got to make a character out of this. I was like, well, what do kids like? I mean, I am a kid. I like candy. I have ADHD. I'm always bouncing off the walls. But what makes me bounce off the walls more? When I eat some candy. I'm going to have a sugar rush. I'm the sugar rush Kid Christian. And it worked for kids for a little bit. But that kid name was just holding me back.
Dope
so
merchandise though. Remember that cotton candy that was like pink and blue?
Yes.
Yeah, dude. That was a dope
I was
shirt.
doing the Vice colors before the Heat, man. I gave him that. But yeah, and then that wasn't really working. And I remember Anthony Bowens tried to get me booked in England. And they were like, well, he's still small and he calls himself Kid.
I heard
like
this
it's
story,
not
yeah.
gonna work. And I was like, all right, well, I gotta figure out something. So I wound up blowing my shoulder out a show. I was out for like 3 or 4 months. So I had some time to sit down and go, all right, 2018's coming. I have a chance to rebrand. What am I gonna do? And I'm sitting and I'm thinking, well, everybody knows me as KC. All my handles are KC Wrestles. I'm like, so I don't want to change it completely and be like, I don't know, Michael Durham or something.
Yeah.
I don't want to completely change it. So I tried to figure out different ways. And I remember Bones going, man, you have a great last name. Like, Navarro's such a good last name. Like, no one has it. Why don't you just call yourself KC Navarro? I was like, all right. And then I was trying to like think of a nickname. And my father, he was an airborne ranger. As you said, he was in the military. And they called him the Sky Reaper. And I was like, man, I'm a high flyer, and Sky Reaper sounds
ill,
so
though.
dope. So I started doing that, and I'd wear gold and black because that's the U.S. Army Ranger colors, and I would do that for a little bit. Then I started getting real military into it, and I remember I did my first Evolve tryout, and it was with Robbie Brookside, who's a coach at NXT, and I did it against Christian Casanova, who is now Carmelo Hayes, who's the North American champion.
Yep.
And I remember we had a great 5-minute match. It was perfect. I remember Brookside pulling me and him to the side going, there's no reason in 3 years you both shouldn't be in NXT. Obviously, it worked out for Christian. But I remember getting an email back as like a review from our match. And the one thing that they said was I need to show more personality. And I was thinking, man, like everybody says I have a lot of personality. But like I'm not showing in my matches. And then I started watching my matches and I noticed, man, I'm not really showing a lot of personality. Like I'm not being myself. I'm being something I'm not. Like I'm trying to be like a military guy, and that's not me. That was my father. So then I wound up blowing my knee out WrestleMania weekend of 2019. Right after that, actually 2 days after that tryout. Actually,
During
I
a
blew my
match?
knee out. Yeah, I blew my knee out, and I
At
was
least you
out
did
for
it during a
6
match.
months.
I did my shit during practice. That's
Yeah,
what sucked.
I had a 280-pound man do a moonsault on me and completely.
I had
squished
King
me.
Hippo squish me. Remember
I am
him?
so sorry. Yes, I do.
Fucking ruined me.
And then
Wait, the guy's name was really King Hippo?
I mean, that was his moniker. He King
Yeah.
Hippo from them videos.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, same guy. We also had Little Mac. Don't get me started.
Original.
Go on.
And after that,
Good shit.
I sat back and I was trying to figure out, all right, I got to rebrand again because I need to show a way to show who I am as a person. And I remember I was really contemplating on getting a tattoo, my first tattoo. But a lot of wrestlers were telling me, if you get a tattoo, you'll never get signed.
I was gonna say that. Did anybody try to talk you out of doing that?
100%. I got it all the time. And I remember I was really set on getting this one. I don't know if you can see it, but it's the Blessed tattoo.
Yep.
And I got the Win the Crowd, Win the World, which was a quote my dad always told me before all my matches. And he was right. And I remember texting Mia Yim going, hey, I want to get a tattoo. Now, she was in NXT so at the time. So I was like, if I get this, do you think this is going to stop anything for me? And right there she goes, no, as a matter of fact, it can work into a character or a story of a character.
Which is true.
Right there I go, I'm going to call myself blessed. I'm going with it. That's my favorite
So
word.
you're saying that you're really not blessed? Is that what we're saying here? You just son of a bitch, exposing the
all a
business.
word. No.
I mean, he's got it on his arm.
I
It's
mean,
in
he's
writing.
pretty
It's in
goddamn
writing.
blessed, though. I mean, and that's a total oxymoron, by the way, by me saying goddamn and blessed in the same sentence.
Nice job.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, dude.
Going to hell.
But anyway, yeah. So I think that was the takeoff point.
Yeah.
So thank you, Mia Yim, for letting you.
What
literally.
do
do that.
what do you like playing more, heel or a face? Do you feel like you're more?
So
what do you feel like you're more at home as?
What I've been telling a lot of people recently is like, I feel like the good guy, bad guy thing is kind of dead in wrestling. I mean, that's just my opinion.
Look at Ryan. Unless you're a complete piece of garbage, like people might like you because you're a jerk off.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like
I've heard stories of
Roman's
like
doing it now on television. He's like, some of the crowd over here is cheering for me. Some of you guys
yeah.
are booing me. Like, so
Right.
it's all,
Yeah.
it's a mix.
But I know a lot of people like he just a lot of people like you as a heel because
Right, yeah.
I've known like CZW shows where like you won a belt and you were backstage taking pictures. Fans were literally trying to come backstage to talk shit to you.
Yeah.
to tell you how much they hated you. Right?
Yeah,
Like
exactly. But you know what's funny? That same day when I won the belt and all these people wanted to kill me, I still was taking an autistic fan, bringing him to the back, signing his poster, and taking a picture with him. Because at heart, I'm not a bad guy. And like even at House of Glory, like I am the most hated person there. Like they hate me when I beat Red.
You went over Red. I mean, yeah, Red's a god.
And the way
over
I
there.
did it was so bad. Like I used his finish and everything, like
Nice
low
stuff.
blows, and it was terrible. It was really fucked up. But like, a fan came up to me at the last show and was like, "Man, I love you as a bad guy." I go, "But am I a bad guy though?" And he was like, "Well, yeah, when you're in the ring." I go, "But you're talking to me right now. Am I an asshole?" And he goes, "Well, no, actually, I think you're really nice." I go, "So I'm not a bad guy, bro. I'm just blessed." That's it. So that's the thing I always
Nah,
say.
that's
I'm
true.
not good. I'm not bad. I'm blessed.
Well, you
That's
see,
like
but
my
to
whole
me,
thing.
that's the difference. So if you're going to be coming off as kind of cocky, right? Like
Sure.
babyface isn't cocky.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Sure.
They're always working from underneath, kind of.
But you're right. Professional wrestling now, everyone's not really going with like a gimmick. They're going with you're yourself, and those are
Right.
the best wrestlers. Always are the ones who play them, who not
'Cause
play
it's
but
the most
are themselves.
authentic.
Yeah,
right there. Like, I mean, look at UFC. I'm sure you guys watch UFC. Like Conor McGregor, right? People can't look right there, right? I love Conor McGregor though, And I love everything he does. I love all the shit that he talks. I love
Most
all the
people
stuff he
do,
says.
except for like the hardcore,
But right there,
Mark
right,
boys over there.
he
they
doesn't
just-
like him. But is Conor McGregor playing a good guy or bad guy on UFC? Is he being told? Like, you know what I mean? Look at Colby Covington.
my
Right?
guy.
I'm a Jorge Masvidal guy. I can't stand Colby Covington.
Oh, whoa.
But exactly. But you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody's got an opinion, right?
That's true, though.
But when I was at the Heat game and I brought my friend Steve Gibke, he loves Colby, who was walking past us on the floor. Colby Covington, who stopped to take a picture of my friend, Colby. And I was like, damn, all right. Still don't like him though. Like, nice guy. As a fighter though, nah, I don't like him. But that's just my opinion. So like, you know, do I like playing a good guy or a bad guy? I like just being me and going off the crowd, honestly. But promo wise, I do like being an asshole because I love shit talking. I love
It's what
shit
works though. It's what makes the most money, and that's
Yeah,
what
right,
this
for sure.
business is about.
For sure.
talking. Right.
Talk to us about Papa Cage. What's going on
You
with
know
that
what's
stuff?
funny? He was just trying to call me.
Ah, really?
While you guys were
Call him
talking.
Call him back and show him what you're doing.
He
I'll
wasn't.
never forget. This is live on the air, by the way, but that's fine.
It's okay. Here,
What
let me
call?
see it. Let me see a full.
That's so funny.
Was that wait, Brian Cage you're talking about?
FaceTime?
Yeah.
Well,
Nah,
Nah,
he said
he's
screw
too
you.
busy.
wait, no.
us.
That was through the WhatsApp to FaceTime. But here, I'll give him.
WhatsApp? What country is he in?
No. You know what it is? He has a Samsung. He doesn't have an iPhone, so he can't FaceTime.
Yeah.
Dude, one of the nicest dudes I've ever met is Brian Cage, and he's a phenomenal guy. As we're calling him now on the air, ladies and gentlemen. This is how we roll.
He just called me. So.
yeah.
Checking up on his.
Well,
junior.
first
Yeah,
you
he's
big
like-
timed him. Now he's gonna big time you.
It wouldn't shock me. Or he's doing a set. He's probably calling me from the gym.
Yeah. So anyway,
That dude's always eating.
he's a good dude.
The video with you guys after you tagged against the Acclaimed, the promo at the end kind of had me laughing. You were like standing over in the corner, like it's my fault, and he's standing next to him, he's like a dad. It's okay. We all have a bad day at the office. I'm like, what am I fucking watching here? Like he just cracked him in the back of the head with a medallion. They lost the match, and he's just like, it's okay. You were over in the corner like a beaten child. I'm like, what are we doing?
How exactly did that all come about with you and Cage? Like, because obviously you could talk about two opposite sides of the spectrum.
They look good. They look like a great team
Everything
together.
that they've been doing is fantastic. I think it's wonderful. Just wondering how that all came about because I've met Cage a couple times with WrestlePro, and it just seems like he's always going to be a loner. He's going to be a one show guy, one act. You know, like no allegiance with anybody. But all of a sudden, he's blessed.
Yeah, right? Papa
How'd that
Cage is
work
best. It honestly has to do with his wife, Melissa Santos. It's actually kind of her fault. So
Great too.
So I was doing an SWF show. I was in high school. I was a senior. And I remember SWF put in like a group message, hey, nobody can pick up Melissa Santos from LaGuardia Airport. Can anybody go get her? At the time, man, I just wanted to be seen or known because she was on Lucha Underground at the time. I mean, that could have been something for me. So I said, screw it, I'll go get her. So as soon as school ended, I got my car, drove to LaGuardia Airport, picked her up. And
The bell just rang. I'm on my way.
yeah, right. Just like that. I probably still have those text messages. Wouldn't surprise me. And I picked her up. And, she
And
was
this text
super
message
nice.
went out to like grown men too, right? Not just some 16-year-old kid in high school, right?
Oh yeah, this one's to everybody. This one's to everybody.
Who
But I
did
the
it?
only
Was
one
it
that
Fury? Fury was asking?
either Fury or Charlie.
Oh,
I don't.
Charlie, that's
I
right.
don't remember
Yeah,
which
Charlie
one.
did a lot of the business too. That's
Yeah,
right.
I don't remember which one. I want to say Fury.
And
though.
as a young kid, that is the rule, man. If you have to go pick up somebody at the airport, you go pick up somebody
go,
at the
man.
airport. If you take that step out, I've picked up Vader. God rest his soul. I've picked up the Rock and Roll Express. I picked up EC3, who will be a guest on the show. You know, I picked him up. You just do it.
Yeah.
If nobody else is doing it, shame on them.
paying
You
your
know, because
dues.
you could pick their brain like crazy.
Yeah.
I learned more stories about Shawn Michaels through the Rock and Roll Express than ever before. And I was even I was like, can you tell me anything? I didn't give a shit. I was like, can you just talk to me? Tell me about these guys. So I can imagine what that was like.
Just
going.
talk to me.
Right.
Yeah, please conversate.
yeah, 'cause
Acknowledge me.
that I remember. You know how like in Facebook messages and like the group things, it shows you like who saw it.
Yeah.
When I mean like almost everybody in the roster saw it and nobody responded. Like I was the only guy to be like, yeah, I'll go get her. And when I did, like I just, I talked to her with respect. She was super nice. And then it was the next night we had a show and Brian happened to be on it. And that was the first time I met Brian, which I was super intimidated because it's a big
Brian
fucking
Cage,
dude.
dude.
I was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He might lift a little bit.
And
I
believe it
don't
or
know,
not,
crazy.
I was a lot smaller than I am
If
now.
the Hulk
so
had a
I was
baby,
really
it would be him.
Yeah, he's
Right.
an animal.
And I had a great match, and Melissa saw it, and she put me over to Brian. And then a few months later, No, I'm sorry. A year later, I was in a match with Brian at a show called PPW in Pennsylvania, and it was when Brian had the X Division title at the time, and Brian only knew me from the match, so he only wanted to do stuff with me just because Melissa put me over a year prior, and I kept up with him, which he was shocked, I guess. And after that, like he kind of earned like I guess like a respect. He never like directly like say like, man, I respect what you did, like awesome job. It was just kind of like a okay. Like, and then like after that, like he'd always be nice to me. He'd always kind of like keep in contact with me. Then he started following me on social media to watch my stuff. And then like as time went on, like I would have better matches against more people. And then we'd get booked on more shows. And then I wrestled him again. And then I remember there was a time where I saw him at a show. It was called Titan Championship Wrestling. And this was in 2000.
Wait a minute, he was part of Titan?
Yeah, at one point, yeah.
Yeah,
he showed up one
everybody's
time.
a part of Titan for once, and then you
yeah.
go, and then you're like,
And I remember just looking at Brian going, hey, man, what do I got to do to get on AEW? Like, who do I got to talk to? Like, I've sent emails, but I've never gotten anything back. And Brian was like, you think you're ready for that? And I was like, no, I know I'm ready for that. I want to be there. And he was like, okay. And I remember a few weeks later, I got booked, and I was there. And I remember I had the match. It was okay. It was a tag match. It was me and Danny Limelight versus what's his name, Luchasaurus and Jungle Boy. Okay. The match was okay. I remember I was shitting bricks because Tony Khan was there for that.
COVID?
Yes.
Okay.
It was in
I saw
Jacksonville.
your one match, your other tag team match you did against like, what were their names? Like the Assist or something? I don't even
Top
know.
Flight.
Top Flight. That was their name.
Yeah.
I watched that.
Yeah, you were close there, Rob.
I was like, well, I just watched it.
And I remember after that match, I never got a call back. So I thought it was me, and I didn't know what happened. And I remember Brian put his neck out for me again, and this was around the time I did the Impact Super X Cup, and we knew that it was going to be aired the first week of January. So Brian kind of did whatever he could to get me on AEW again. And I remember he kind of like laid into me, and he was like, listen, you need to start having better matches, and you need to get bigger. Like, you got to work out because you're going up against guys that are way bigger than you, and on TV, it doesn't look good. And I remember I just busted my ass, and I showed up, and every time I was at AEW, I was knocking it out of the park.
At least he's being 100% honest
Yeah.
with you and not throwing bullshit your way to be like, you know, I could try and let me see what I
Right.
could do. Like, no, bro, go work, go get a little bigger, come back. Bro, I just watched you wrestle Brian Pillman, and I'm like, I know Brian Pillman's a big dude, and you didn't look that much smaller than him, bro. And I'm like,
he's not that big of a dude, though.
no,
Oh,
bro,
no, he's a big boy.
I don't know the last time you seen him, but he's a big dude, bro.
I mean, I haven't seen him in like a year, but
his weight's up there, and I was like, bro, and I've seen you live before, so I'm like,
Sure.
and you're both in the ring. I'm like, bro, he looks just as big as he does.
hey, don't forget your workout world days, bro.
Oh, for
Yeah,
real.
we gotta bring that up in a second.
Yeah.
But yeah, like then I started wrestling guys like Top Flight, Silver and Reynolds, Sonny, Ray Phoenix, which was the big one. When I got the match with Ray Phoenix, that was the big one. And then after that, Brian just had we had a lot of time to bond because I was there every other week for 4 months, and I was seeing him every week. I was working out with him, and he was seeing like I took the gym serious. And then I made a joke one time, and I called him Papa Cage in the locker room. And then everyone heard that, and then everybody started calling him Papa Cage. And I was his son, Kid Cage, because KC. And then that kind of became like the whole thing, and then it was kind of history from there. We just became like a bond after that.
Nice.
Yeah, he's a good
You guys work well with that match with the Acclaimed. The double missile drop kick that you hit off the top rope, that was pretty good.
Thank you.
That was really good. I actually thought you guys were going to go over, and then I remember Tony Khan doesn't let his toys lose on TV.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Sorry.
I told you, dude.
Where was that match?
That was
in
Warrior.
Cicero Stadium in Chicago.
And that was with Bowens and Caster?
Bones and Caster.
It was a really good match. Like
Where can I find that one?
I like
watch that one.
YouTube.
YouTube?
I
Okay.
like tag matches, but I like tag matches where there's a bunch of action in it.
Sure.
And that one was awesome, and it was a clean win. But my favorite match with you was your triple threat match with Myron Reed for the middleweight belt.
Oh, yeah?
I was telling him, you guys stole that entire Fusion episode. I know the big main event was Fatu against Mads Kruger.
Sure.
But that match between you guys was absolutely phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like a light switch went off with you there.
Yeah.
From what was your match against Gino Medina, where they kind of let you get some of your shit in.
Oh, yeah,
and
my debut. That was my first match there.
Then Gino went over. And that's what I said to him. I was like, they almost like squashed him. I know he's got more in him.
Right.
And then what was your next one? Was Warhorse, right?
My next singles match, yeah.
Yeah, it was Warhorse. I was there for that one, and then I wish I could have been there for the triple threat match. That was phenomenal.
It's always a lot of fun. That guy Ares is fantastic, and I love Myron. I've worked Myron at Warrior as well.
I saw that too.
And that match, man, that was one of my favorite matches from Warrior, honestly.
That's what I love about you guys over in MLW. You're everywhere.
Yeah.
You guys are everywhere.
Yeah.
What was it? Hammerstone was supposed to. He got hurt. It was when he wrestled against Fatu. When he tried to do his own little missile drop kick off the top rope and hurt his ankle.
Yeah.
He was supposed to do a show in Bayville, and he couldn't go because he couldn't walk.
Right.
So these guys are legitimately everywhere.
Hammerstone, how tall is he?
About 6'1".
Well, yeah, I was going to say like 6'1".
I'm just curious because I mean he's got the look to be a fucking star too. So
I mean his bicep is the size of your head.
I know he's a big boy.
So how much did the pandemic have to do with, like, so the pandemic happens and you get to go down there and pretty much live down there with those guys because nothing's going on, right?
Sure, yeah.
So how much do you think like that helped where you're at right now in your career?
Oh, I owe everything to the pandemic. Well, kind of. But
for real? No,
Dude,
but
Chop Sports wouldn't exist without the pandemic.
honestly,
that's
A lot of
yeah,
people,
like,
a lot of
truth be
people
told.
owe
like
things to the
business wise,
pandemic.
Yeah.
It worked out the best
owe
for
it
you
to
because
the
you were out be able to be there with them. No one's going anywhere. It's all just wrestle and pick people's brains, right?
Literally every week I was wrestling. I was actually having the best matches of my career. Like I was wrestling guys like Davey Richards. I was his second match back since he took like a 3-year hiatus or whatever it was. Davey, Leo Rush, Mike Bennett, Brian.
Is it true Leo Rush on his way out the door, CZW said that you need to go over, you need to be like the next guy up or
Yes.
something like that?
Yeah.
Tell that story.
I was there for Leo's last match before he went to NXT. It was him and Joey. It was the really big show. I don't remember what the name of the show was, but I mean, it was sold out. It was a crazy show because also Matt Tremont wrestled Onita for the first time, I believe. And I just remember after the match was over, I went up to Leo, I gave him a hug, and Leo kind of like grabbed me and he looked at DJ Hyde, who ran CZW, and goes, "This is the guy I want to take my spot. Like, this is the guy. Like, he's next. It's his time. I know he's young, but it's his time." And I remember DJ just kind of looking at him going, "Okay. No
Somebody
problem."
else did that too. Swerve, right? Or Shane Strickland? Somebody.
Swerve, I was his last match at CZW before he went to NXT as well. He asked to wrestle me after he watched me and Jordan Oliver at the ECW arena for the Wire.
Oliver's still doing his thing?
Yeah, he's over at GCW doing his thing.
Good shit.
Yeah, man.
You guys both came in around the same, like you both kind of like did this, but like, you know.
Yeah, we
he's
both
still-
came in pretty much together. Yeah.
Truth be told, I was just like, when I saw you guys, well, not so much you, because I knew you had the training with him, and I was just like,
Sure.
that kid's never, like, that's not going to pan out. And then he just proved me the fuck wrong real easily.
he
And I
went
was like,
off.
this guy could fucking go too.
Well, with some people, I guess it just clicks on them, right?
Yeah, no,
like you
absolutely.
just find a groove and then you go into it.
Yeah.
Who's some of your best friends right now, like in the business?
Best friends.
Yeah.
Bones, 100%. Diamante from AEW. Tasha Steeles. And I guess I would say Papa Cage.
Nice.
Yeah.
No, I'm just rolling them off, and I guess I wasn't.
And
I guess I wasn't.
Well, he said in the business.
I said the end of it, you know.
Fuck. I mean, I'm an announcer, but I'm still around. Like,
Remember
what the
last
fuck is
week when
going
I
on?
said
You're a
this-
father now, man.
Check it out. I said Dave Destruction last week. He goes, "Are we really going to keep doing
Well,
this?"
because I don't-
haven't
I
been in
didn't
the ring
use
in
that.
6
He did
years, but
say
now
that.
all of a sudden,
No. I don't use that fucking name when I'm an announcer. Like, I'll be like, hey, when I first started announcing, I did do that, and I was like, this sounds dumb. That's like, and no offense to like Excalibur, but like,
I was about to say, get a
I can't-
lucha mask and
why
you'll
don't
be
I just get
over.
like, and I'm sure he's right. Actually, you know what's funny? I don't know the guy from Peter. Like, I don't know anything about Excalibur, and he's a fantastic broadcaster. But the mask, it's just like, what are we doing? I have no, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's symbolic. I don't know. But it, like, for a while, I was like, all right, for Shining Edward Jackson and Dave Destruction, it's been a show. And I'm just like, I watch it back. I'm like, that sounds so fucking dumb. Like, I'm Dave Sturcho. That's no more. I'm not wrestling anymore. Yet. Never say never. But you know what I'm saying? We still need the Thunder and Lightning match.
I was going to say, what
We
about our
still
tag
need-
team that
we were
never
supposed to be a
happened?
tag team. Me and him had talked about it in length. About being a tag team when he was first coming in. We went to the gym together. We trained together. It was a really cool time to know and see how fast this fucking kid came out of nowhere. And there was a time where, and it's straight up, straight from the heart.
Sure.
I hated him because of how good he was, you know. And I was like, this little fucking. How is this happening? How is this kid running circles around people, and I'm over there getting winded after a 2-minute match? You know what I mean? Like,
Because
this is
how old were
bullshit.
you at the time?
Yeah, it doesn't matter though. I was just like, obviously I was older, but I was like, no,
Yeah.
man, there's no way this kid. And it's the same feeling I had when Bowens walked into the school for the first time. I was like, I'm like, I'm doing my thing. I'm wrestling. I'm chain wrestling. Like, remember Ray Smith? Like guys like
Yeah.
that. Even
Yeah,
Joe
yeah.
Janela when he was helping training. I was like, I'm pretty good at this. This is pretty cool. And then I watched Bowens. And I'm like, fuck me. I suck. Like, this is terrible. This is the same way I felt about him. I was like, Casey's gonna come in. He's gonna get his head fucking blown out of his ass. Just whoop, you know. And lo and behold, he proved me wrong. He got humble. He fucking kept working out. Kept digging.
No, he didn't get humbled. He got blessed.
I said humble. He got humble.
He didn't get humbled.
right here, bro.
He got blessed.
It's right there on his arm. But like
Humbly
honestly,
blessed.
I was worried about the trajectory of this kid because I felt like he knew he was good, and all it took was the right person to say he was good. But it's so good to hear that Cage went up to you and told you how it was instead of
like the truth.
"Dude,
I'm
you're
glad- I love to hear
amazing.
that."
You just did all those flippy doos, and you, oh my god, you're the future of wrestling. For somebody to be like, go get bigger.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
big, man. That's
That
so
is-
big.
that's
in this business.
real.
Yeah,
That's
because
honesty.
you don't need yes men around you because you're not going to evolve.
Right.
You know, and you see that with some of the athletes today. I'm not going to relax.
I didn't say
I'm not going to
anything.
name any names. But you
it's
can
true, though.
see the people that have the yes men around them where they're in positions that they shouldn't be in, and they're not getting any better.
Right.
They're not growing.
So, what's next? Blessed? We're champions. We're going all over the place. We're winning titles.
I'm trying to win another title, man.
We're beating guys like you're winning. Osprey held the belt, right?
Yes.
Red held the belt.
Yes.
And it's yours now.
Yes.
What's next, bro?
2 days ago I was at Northeast Wrestling and I called out JT Dunn for his title at Northeast. So
Why
could
don't
be
you
a
shoot
Northeast
bigger?
title.
Why don't you shoot bigger? Why don't you
The
ask-
MLW middleweight title, baby?
No. I'm looking at the camera right now. Let's shoot a little bigger at Northeast.
Shoot a little
There's
bigger.
been a champion over there who hasn't lost a belt in like 3 fucking years.
Oh!
We're talking to you,
Oh,
Danny Moff.
yeah.
Why don't you go big, bro?
Yo,
Enough
yo.
with this middleweight bullshit.
Whoa.
Go ahead, go big.
Well, if you think about it, real
You and Moff would kill it. Did you
I
guys ever
actually
work? I don't even know.
technically have 3 titles. Technically.
Okay. Which
Because I think a lot of people forgot, I beat Dan Moff for the Wrestling As a Tomorrow title in Rhode Island.
the what title? What happened
the
to
what
that? Oh, that
title?
was JT Dunn's.
Correct. And the company has not come back since the pandemic, unfortunately.
But it's your
I
belt.
should have brought the
You're
belt
the
anyway.
champ.
I have it.
You have it at
You're
home.
the champ. I should have brought it anyway.
He's still the
so
champ,
technically,
though.
I am a triple champ.
That was a cool little promotion he had going on. The what?
Yeah.
The what? Fed or whatever you're calling it. Yeah, wrestling has it tomorrow, and I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, go big, bro. If you're in
Man.
Northeast, go get the Barriqua badass.
3
bro.
years
Get the
he's had
big
the
old
belt.
bad- Bro,
You
he's
know-
had the belt for like 900 days. Like,
Holding
and
it
nobody can
hostage?
beat him. Huh?
Holding some 1970s booking
He
going on
ain't-
there.
no. It's not even that he ain't holding the hostage. He's kicking the shit out of everybody.
Literally.
out there.
That man's
Danny
running
Moff
through
is-
everybody.
It's called
True.
believability. That's
See, here's
the thing.
And Casey will be a
I'll get down there to see some of that.
attest to this because we both came up with Danny Moff.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you right now, there is no doubt in my mind that Danny Moff is one of the greatest performers I've ever seen in the ring, and he continues to be the Benjamin Button of pro wrestling, meaning he's getting older, he's still getting better. It's nuts, bro. The guy was making waves over at Ring of Honor, right? He was doing all that, then that went under. He was signed, bro. He was signed again. You know what I mean? Then the pandemic hits and everything, all that bullshit, right? Bro, Danny Moff, and you know, he's how many times has he gone to bat for you? Bro, last Alaska trip, how drunk did he get, by the way? In the food court.
7 hours in Portland. We'll
7
never
hours
forget
in
it.
Portland. You're talking about a flight.
food
Holy
court?
shit. Bro, our layover in Portland was like
7 hours.
8 hours, 7 hours.
What'd you do?
We drank.
They
airport?
I sat.
No.
I ate pizza.
No. We gave you one.
I had one.
You had one.
They had about
It's 8
30
hours
because
you
they were
dare-
like
don't
a
you dare-
dollar.
Don't you
So
dare
you
leave
were
this all as
wait,
drunks.
time out. So you were the young boy designated driver.
50 cent wing night in the airport?
I don't even know. No, you know what he was doing? Moff kept going to this little like bodega, like, and just coming out with like 6-packs of like
Oh, tall
this
boys?
hard
They were
shit.
like $5 a pack. So they
Fucking
they got a
Portland.
lot.
Was
So,
he
yeah.
was he
Before
with
you
Julia
got on the
Smokes
plane?
in
Yeah.
Ring of Honor?
Moff?
Yeah.
What was that? I
With
missed the
Dr.
que-
Julia Smokes, because when he was in when he was the manager in Ring of Honor.
I'll be honest, I don't know.
I don't know
Danny
that either.
Moff would seem like the perfect guy
Danny
to be
Moff,
with
like I
with
said, if
those
you
guys
haven't-
in 5150
Look
and
him
stuff.
up.
I will
'Cause if you haven't
now,
watched
because if
any
you're
of his
saying
stuff, like,
if he
he's
3 years in because he
incredible.
earned it, I got to see it.
I mean,
Incredible.
I'll be straight. I think if it wasn't for Danny Moff, I wouldn't be wrestling anymore.
If it wasn't for Danny Moff, a lot of people would be wrestling.
Because
anymore.
when I got kicked
Yep.
out of wrestling school, I mean, I only just turned 16.
Why'd you get kicked out of wrestling school?
I was told I wasn't humble.
Okay.
See, I'm not in the total, but
Yeah.
Not-
he flipped it on the fucking dime, bro.
I've always gotten a million different stories as to why I got kicked out, and never truly knew the real reason.
But that was the basic answer.
He was too good.
That's what
Nobody
I was
wanted
told.
to tell. No.
And I mean, I went into like a real deep depression, and my mom was worried. I mean, my mom even showed up to the wrestling school.
Mama Navarro showed up to wrestling school.
What'd you have to do to get back in? What'd they make you do?
I never tried to go back.
No, you never went back to it.
Maybe one time in like 2016, maybe I tried. And I was there for 2 weeks, and I was like, I hate being here, and then I left again.
Just a different feeling then.
Yeah, because I just
That
knew
school's
there was
changed a little bit. And
Oh yeah, 100%.
I don't know what it is now.
It was only a year later when I tried to come back.
Yeah, I
but
don't
it was
know what it is
still
now,
like
You still had that stigma.
The feeling that
I had that weird feeling, and I remember Moff and Bowens were the two I heard from out of everybody, from what I remember. And Bowens felt really bad, but there was nothing he could really do. But Moff was the one that made the calls to make sure my career didn't end. He wanted me to go train at Warriors of Wrestling, but I never went. But he's the one that hit up Rob Fury, who runs SWF, to be like, hey, listen, I know this kid is young. He just got kicked out of wrestling school, but I don't want to see his career end. Like, he's too good. And Rob said, okay. And I also
think I drove you to that show. Me and you drove together to that first show. It was Pompton
No,
Lakes,
it was after that. It was
after that. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
yeah,
Jesus
yeah.
Christ,
Because
I'm dating myself now.
yeah, because there was an SWF show that we did, which kind of led up to me getting kicked out. Moff like had put me over. Like, I heard that was one reason. Moff put me over, and like apparently they weren't happy that I got put over, and my family was there, and it was a WrestleMania moment. Was the big thing I heard. That was one of the stories. So that's why Moff was like, hey, listen, the kid's over. The kid could get over. He's only 16.
Yeah.
Give him a shot. And then that's when I just kept wrestling. I never really trained after that.
No,
Once I got
that
kicked
was a
out.
testament to
kept
him.
going.
I used that. That's when I was like, oh, he doesn't want to train. You know, he doesn't want. But like little by little, you just kept seeing this kid just pop up everywhere, and you're like, well, maybe he doesn't need. I mean, maybe he doesn't need to go to a structured school anymore. Maybe he's that fucking good. I don't know. Like, who am I? I'm not gonna fucking judge. Like at first, I was like, I can't believe he's not going back to the school.
Sure,
but you didn't need it.
Yeah.
After ending the day, like you're sitting here with reigning with gold and platinum. It's like you didn't need it.
Yeah. Right.
So.
Not for everybody,
There's
but
always certain people out there that can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, you hear those stories, like
Yeah.
the punks of the world. You know what I mean? Like those guys.
Look at Goldberg.
I just watched the
3
documentary
months.
on Goldberg. 3 months in the freaking factory or whatever they called it, the power plant, and he was on TV winning titles. So sometimes it's just a unique story, and I think Casey's got one of them. You know, one of those stories that the kid came up, he did his thing, he went to a school, he did what he could there, he got cut. Literally, you know, if that's how you want to look at it, you got cut.
Pretty much, yeah.
And sometimes when you get cut, you get driven. Yeah, fucking harder than ever.
Tell everybody what you do Tuesdays and Thursdays on Instagram.
Tuesdays and Thursdays? Well, during the pandemic, I used to go live every week, and I'd have the Next to Be Blessed lives. Actually, I feel like that's what got me through the pandemic before the AEW things all happened, because we couldn't wrestle. Like, AEW wasn't really doing it yet, and if they weren't bringing in talent yet. They were just using their own roster. So I would just be home, and then I remember I went live like once, and like I had a decent amount of people come in because everybody was home doing nothing. So they saw I was live, and I had like 50 people in there, and I'm like, what? I can't even name 5 friends, let alone 50 people coming in my live. And I tried again, and then more people came, and I was like, man, maybe I should make this a thing. So I started doing a thing called Next to Be Blessed, because I would bring in my fans. And before I bring them in, I'd be like, who's next to be blessed? And I was like, oh, this could be a cool name of the show. And then I got myself a poster. And for like 6 months, like Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'd bring people into my lives. And actually, I feel like it helped my Instagram growth.
I've definitely requested to join and got denied. So
No. Search was
He
never able to be next to be blessed.
You're beyond the help to be blessed.
Yeah,
It's
it's unfortunate.
unfortunate.
That's absolutely true.
Well, you're being blessed right now.
Yes, I am.
See,
Yes, I
it's
am.
better. And it's in person.
So something I ask, I bring up every time on this show, every day, every week on the show. I have to know, and I need honest opinions. I don't care what you say. I don't care if you're a promising guy in the business. I just need an honest opinion, and I'm being 100% serious when I say this. I'm a firm believer, and I'll explain to you why.
Okay.
Disco Inferno deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, in WWE Hall of Fame.
All right.
Dead serious. I'm dead serious. Now listen to me. It's gonna be in WrestleMania is gonna be in Vegas eventually. It's because they just built that
the new
arena,
stadium.
right? So I'm thinking money. I'm thinking fans. Now Disco Inferno 910-5 gimmick of the year. You know what I mean? Do you know what his finisher was? It was called a Chart Buster. Do you know what it was?
Nope.
It was a Stone Cold Stunner before Stone Cold used it. So the man also was a booker in WCW, booker in Impact. Did things for Impact too.
Sure.
I mean, one
Have you ever watched his
company
work?
went out of business. The other
Have
one
I ever
is
watched
like
his
on the
work?
way out.
There are some people in the Hall of Fame that should not be in there. So if you're telling me Disco
don't
Inferno
start
can't get in there,
pulling
bro, don't make me start going on
No
Google.
pulling out the names. No pulling out the names.
Have you ever watched any of his matches?
If he was on an indie show that I was at.
Yeah.
Yes.
You seem to forget what year
I'm
he was born.
young.
People watch Google
I'm
and
young,
YouTube.
dude. When I was
Bro,
at-
nobody's Googling Disco Inferno.
but they know about the Wolfpack and NWO. Disco Inferno was big in the
Mother
Wolfpack.
effing! You know what I just saw last night? As a matter of fact, I was
Oh,
watching
what,
the
Disco
Goldberg.
Inferno and
yeah,
Disco-
the
Oh,
Goldberg. I was
nobody
watching that
knows.
Goldberg documentary on AE, and in that loss, when Goldberg finally lost to
Who
Nash,
came out?
Who came out?
Disco Inferno.
Son of a bitch.
So he's been a part of
Yeah.
big moments. So yes, I expect people to know.
All right, so Youngblood over here doesn't watch Disco Inferno, so
Yeah.
that's
Well,
okay.
I mean, put it like this: when I was training at wrestling school, I'd wear Roman Reigns shirts, and everybody would talk like, "Oh, you're a mark, you're a mark." But the same guys were wearing Macho Man shirts, but that wasn't being a mark. But it's just because I didn't grow up in that era.
See? You see?
You know what I mean?
See, I don't
He's
take
right,
offense.
though.
That's all it was.
Interesting.
As a
That-
fan,
I
I
like
don't
that.
take offense when
I
somebody
just
calls
bought a
me a
DX
mark.
shirt and got off the 316.
You know what I mean?
I just
You just bought a
that
DX
shit.
shirt.
I did.
And that would have been Marky. It wouldn't be Marky,
You know,
right? But if I bought
I'm
a
too old
Street
to-
Profit shirt, I'm
Yeah,
Mark.
you're a mark.
You know
yeah.
what?
You know what I mean?
Roddy Piper and Jake
Well, because
the
you
Snake.
can wrestle them right now.
Well,
That's
I'm
a
saying,
different story.
like,
Yeah, but Roddy
you
and
know.
Jake the Snake always said they hated the term mark because you're basically making fun of somebody for being a fan who's paying your fucking bills.
Sure.
But that's what we
And
are.
so
though.
if I'm a mark, I am the mark. I am super fucking mark.
So I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah. I am the fucking mark. Hey, Microman, thank you for coming on the show today.
I ain't fucking Microman, man. You get Microman a microphone and then we'll talk.
Oh, no.
You guys should have
I
a
love
tag
Microman.
team,
though. I
Micro
love him. I
Machines.
love him.
Last question.
He's the man, by the way.
Dream opponent doesn't have to be alive.
Pack.
For real, that's who you want.
Yes.
Call him out.
That would
dude.
actually be. That
Oh,
would
I
actually
called
be
him out
good.
plenty of times, man. I that's the guy. Ever since I was at WrestleMania Access, April of 2013 at the Meadowlands at the Izod Center, and I saw him as NXT champion. They had like a little match thing, like the NXT matches going on. I saw him do that fucking
Yeah.
what is it called? The black arrow, red
I don't-
arrow,
yeah,
blue
it's
arrow.
fucking
He
phenomenal.
hit that move. I became a fan instantly.
But when he doesn't do it, people get pissed off. Like when he's up, he'll like go to the top when he's a heel,
Right.
And like he'll make it look like he's gonna do it,
Guess
and he
what?
won't
And he'll
go
do
down.
it.
Perfect.
Oh my
Yeah.
god!
Because then the moment he hits it, it means so much more.
oh, dude,
It's like when
Phenomenal.
Mick Foley stopped being hardcore in ECW and he was doing like working like regular wrestling holds. Everybody was dying to see him do something.
So,
and
all
he
right,
would do
so
it.
Pac is the guy you want.
Pac.
Who has been the guy that you've been in there? You're saying, that was my best match.
Probably Buddy Murphy.
I saw that match. I like that match a lot.
Yeah.
Buddy
I
could
was
go.
I was his first singles match on the Indies in America. That was a big test for me.
That's pretty cool.
You've still never wrestled overseas yet?
No.
Wow.
I was
Really?
I was actually going to this month. They were trying to get me in Australia, but the show was booked. So hopefully end of this
think
year or
Kevin
next
just
year.
got
Do you
booked in
have? Do you get a
Australia.
lot of overseas love from fans?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's why I'm
Big
like, why?
time.
I'm like, I
Big
heard
time.
you on a podcast like a year ago saying you've never been overseas. I'm like, why not? Why haven't you been?
No
That's
idea.
crazy, dude. Let's
idea.
get this kid overseas.
Hey, yeah, let's go.
I'm for real.
go.
man.
What are we waiting
What's
for?
going on here?
Yeah, but I definitely would say that the Buddy Murphy match was one of my biggest tests. Why? Because I showed up and I found out that day I was wrestling him.
You
I
didn't-
wasn't prepared at all.
To go get some the as
Like
big
it wasn't
as
like
him.
and at the time, my top two to wrestle, my dream matches was Pac and Buddy Murphy.
And he was just wrestling Reigns on SmackDown probably like 2-3 months before that.
Right. And he got released. And then he was supposed to do a show at PPW in Pennsylvania because I was there all the time. I was like their guy, and they were going to put me against them. At the time, I signed with MLW. MLW was supposed to run that day, so they pulled me from the show. And then that show got canceled, so I got back on the PPW show. At the time, they switched Buddy's match, but it was a triple threat, and nobody saw it. So technically, the first thing that people saw of Buddy was me
that.
versus him.
That's awesome.
And he was supposed to wrestle Brian Cage the following week. So it was cool for me and Brian because it was like, oh, I'm going to wrestle Buddy and then you're going to wrestle Buddy. But then Brian did stem cell therapy and I
Yeah.
couldn't walk.
That
Something happened and he couldn't walk.
That-
Where did he get that done at? You got that done here in the
Believe
States?
Somewhere in Vegas.
Really?
Yeah.
That medallion
Trying to get
thing,
that for years.
Did he really pick who he wanted to do in that, or was that their thing?
Yeah, he picked everybody in the match.
Every single person?
Every single
now, how
person in
about,
the match.
now obviously you won.
Yeah.
Did he choose that or they chose that?
That I don't.
You don't know? And he probably wouldn't tell you that either. Right?
Yeah. I mean,
That's
I'd have
pretty
to.
cool, though.
I'm sure he probably was like.
No, I had some
Yeah.
influence, but that's why I want to know if he picked everyone in that match
Yes,
or
specifically,
what.
yeah.
But because then it's like, well, now he does have, maybe he did, and he chose you, which was
Yeah.
the right choice. And then it's like I saw the end where Cage is wrestling Ospreay,
Right.
And Ospreay comes out, and then you come out with your medallion. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
it's gonna get real in here, bro. Ospreay is probably one of the biggest non-WWE AEW guys
100%.
in the world
100%.
right now. You know what I mean? So when he said that he took it from Ospreay, I'm like, what, dude? Like that's huge. That's huge. And we're marks. I can't imagine how it
for
feels for
me,
you.
it's like, yeah, I didn't pin Ospreay, but if you go look at the title
Who had it?
statistics or whatever, it goes Brian Pillman Jr., Brian Cage, Trey Miguel, Will Ospreay, me. I'm after Will.
Yeah.
So just the fact I'm after Will is like, oh.
Now you got to go Google how it happened.
And you gotta-
Yeah, then you gotta go
Well,
out
you gotta
because
go.
any
Do that.
promo I do, I always say I beat Will Ospreay. 'Cause
You should.
technically,
As you
I
should.
did. He was in the match, right?
As
I
you
beat him.
should.
You're right.
As you should. And Warrior Wrestling, you need to tell them to get on their YouTube page and fix it because they still have Ospreay with the belt and they're in the picture.
big banner?
Oh no, absolutely not. We won't have that.
No
here.
respect. That's how
We
you get
won't
no
have
respect.
that
I
here.
win the title,
we got
no
him here with
respect.
the belt right
Double
now.
belts, bro.
Champ.
Unbelievable. But
Intense. So all right. So what's when can people find you again, bro? When you getting back in the ring?
Yeah, well, I was there this weekend. I will be at Northeast Wrestling in Waterbury, Connecticut on Sunday.
Who you got?
It is a fatal four-way for the Northeast Wrestling live title. It is
that's-
me, Alec Price, Flip Gordon, and JT Dunn.
Flip is also part of Dudes Gourmet, so we can talk. We could, yeah. We talk to him in EC3 next week.
What's your thought process when you're going into these? And I've always wondered this because with the triple threat match with Myron Reed, now you're going into this fatal four-way. Because obviously a different thought process than you're doing it with a regular one-on-one match. So who do you want to focus on? Is there somebody that you'd rather work with during the thing, or do you just call it in the ring?
I'm calling in the ring.
Oh, yeah, let's call a four-way high-flying match in the
Four-way
ring.
in the
Somebody's dying.
Somebody's dying, for real.
Christ.
My first initial thought is steal the show,
Which is
especially with the guys
1987?
in
Go
the
ahead,
match.
say
You
it.
know what I mean? Like, we got to steal the show. That's my first thing. And I always want to walk in with some type of idea, some kind of cool idea that's going to make people go, oh, shit. Something that they're not going to forget. I don't give a shit about the little shit that we do in between, but that one moment that they're going to be like, man, that fatal four-way,
Like
bro.
that one spot where you in Carino in Alaska that you worked on, that you did like the handstand.
Oh, the handstand DDT?
Woo, boy. I knew it was coming, and I still acted like I didn't know it was coming on the commentary. I was like, that
Let me tell you something about that commentary that night. This guy changed my name about 14 times. 1 minute I was Christian, 1 minute I was KC Navarro,
man.
Christian, KC Navarro, Christian Navarro, KC Navarro,
Oh,
KC
now you know
Navarro,
where-
Christian Navarro.
I knew the kid. It's like it's
Kid
so-
Christian, I was at.
Yeah,
you want to know
you don't
every
even know
name
where
of my
Johnny
career?
Morrison was from on Impact. I mean,
This is
come on.
true. I thought he was from Slam City, but I was wrong.
Hey, that's all right. Even
Do you know
Jim
that
Ross
story?
messes up.
Do you know that story?
No.
When I was at Impact,
Tell the story.
I did the ring announcing for fucking Bound for Glory.
For the Austin Aries
when Austin Aries
Morrison.
left, he did the ring announcer for that
but I
match.
did the ring announcing. I was on pay-per-view.
And what'd
I was
you
like,
do?
this is my moment. So I was like, from Slam City. And he fucking gets off the turnbuckle, goes into my ear, and goes, slam down. And I was like, slam down. And I was like, dude, oh my God, I just fucked this up. I mean, he was a good sport about it, whatever.
All 58 people that bought that pay-per-view were pissed.
That was a good show, man.
That
Great
was,
show.
that was like a big ending of a moment where people are going to go back to rewatch that
Give a
match. Is what I'm
fuck.
saying. No, but at least you're going to live in infamy.
Oh, forever.
You
You
know?
know what, though? I don't think a goddamn person said anything.
But it's
You know
about
what I
the
mean?
moments, though. Like he just said.
I walked through the curtain after that, and I looked around, and nobody even said anything. They're like, great job. Like, Pat being Pat was like, yeah, that was good. And I was like, it was? It was. And I like, walk off like, this is perfect.
One last question. Sure. Why pink?
Why pink? Well, at the time, I don't think anybody was doing it. I always was a big believer in real men wear pink.
Cameron?
And
Cameron.
Oh, yeah.
Is a firm believer. Of
And
Bret Hart.
and I always supported breast cancer awareness as a kid, so I always wore pink, and I always got made fun of. So I like to do a thing where I use my weaknesses as strengths,
Let's be rabbit over here. Good job.
like just like this. Like I was told I wasn't humble and I wouldn't make it anywhere. Well, that word, now I wear it on my sleeve every day because I got to remind myself where I came from and remind myself of where I want to go. And the pink was just different for me. The pink hair was an interesting choice. I just remember I wanted to rebrand myself a little bit, like still keep the whole blessed thing, but I wanted to bring it to another level. And be more serious. Like I knew it was my time to get signed. I just had a feeling like I was like, man, I'm wrestling the best. I'm proving myself now. I'm everywhere. Like I remember at one point with Spartan, like you brought up, I went and I wrestled in Vegas against Chris Bay, and then that night I got back on a plane right after our main event match. Like as soon as the match was over, basically got changed. Went right to the airport, flew overnight. As soon as I landed, I got picked up from the airport, went straight to wrestle again. So I went West Coast, East Coast all in one night, and I didn't even care because I knew I had something to prove to people. Like, bro, I'm everywhere, man. I'm blessing the world. That was my big thing at the time. Bless the world.
I see you on Instagram in your fresh suits and
that
shit
was
now.
my thing.
My boy.
Like, I literally had to get a new car. My car died, and I had like $12,000 to my name. I was gonna buy just
Only.
another. I was well, just from the insurance.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I had,
Yeah.
and I literally took
Listen,
it.
when
and
you
I-
have kids, 12 grand is a lot of money.
and I got a BMW
Live,
just
bro.
because I was like, man, what would KC Navarro be driving? He'd be driving a fucking Beamer.
Is that yours out there with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
No, actually, I just got
Okay.
into a car accident the other day, and
gonna
now
say.
I'm getting another check, and I'm getting another car.
Talk about being blessed,
Yeah,
bro.
right? It just,
My
it
God.
can't-
Because I
never fails.
parked right next to a BMW and I saw a Pittsburgh Steeler license plate. So I'm like, he's sitting there
Nah,
bragging.
hell
He's a
no.
Pittsburgh fan.
Nah, you'll see my Miami Heat logo on mine. Mine always has a Heat logo on my
Nice.
cars.
Yeah, you're a Heat guy, but you're a football fan.
Cowboys boy.
See, that's
Yes,
why
sir.
I told you. That's why I like the kid.
Cowboys, Yankees, Miami Heat.
Put a bow on this bad boy there, Tommy boy.
All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for joining us today,
thank
brother.
you. Thanks for having me.
It's been a pleasure, and I can't wait to cover more of your stuff with MLW.
Hell yeah.
Next week we have EC3 joining us. Unfortunately, not in studio. It's gonna be an interesting show because right after we wrap, we're about to hit the train and on the way to Monday Night Raw.
Couple tall boys on the old. Well, I know you don't drink, but like definitely celebrate that one.
So yeah, guys, like and subscribe to the podcast. Glad that we're going to be here on video. Make sure every single day you guys are checking out Chop Sports for all of your sporting needs. And why is everybody like motioning and pointing?
No,
at me?
I just look over and I just see
Keep it
Davis
real
like,
here.
No, was it really? Was that?
Like,
was
yo, you were staring at him like he was just
was it like
messing
resting
up the
bitch face? Just like
So I mean, he's pointing at this, and I'm like, what am I doing here?
I was just like, just waiting for
I
you to
thought
close,
maybe I was having
and then
a
I was going to
stroke.
say one more thing. No, you're good, bro.
All right. So yes, Chop Sports Daily. Make sure you check it out. Thank you to Dudes Gourmet and the Feel Good Factory. Dave, what were you?
No,
gonna
I was
say?
just gonna say, man, we've done this before. Remember the Wildwood show that we did for? There was a Wildwood convention the day before. We had to promote it.
Oh, Atlantic City.
Yes, well, whatever, same shit to me. It's all Jersey. Atlantic City, where Sting and Goldberg were there and shit like that. That was fun. But we did that radio show.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes,
So
I-
this is our second.
Yeah.
Actually, were you on my podcast at one point too?
No.
No, never. I
First
never
one.
asked him to be. Yeah, that's right.
Nah, I wasn't good enough at the time.
But yet I'm
Crazy.
not good enough
That's
to get
a
on his
da-
fucking.
Wasn't
daily-
blessed enough.
A
YouTube
daily
lives or
show.
whatever.
A daily show before Pat
You know,
McAfee.
when
Yeah,
he hit
Johnny
me up to
Bench.
subscribe, I did it. Followed.
Exactly.
Yeah,
See?
I did what he asked.
All right,
you know, when
bro.
we were in Alaska, he was handing out koozies. No one took it. You know who did? I did, because I'm a good friend.
Hell yeah.
Only
Hell
had
yeah.
one beer
Oh,
at
no,
the
no, no.
Portland.
No. Were you part of the good friends that put smelling salt under my nose when I fell asleep?
No, I watched it happen.
No, you watched it happen, good friend. Yeah.
Oh man.
I didn't know what they were doing.
Don't pass out in front of Danny Moff because he will have a field day, and that's what I did. Long day, red eye. We're all exhausted. I'm falling asleep. I wake up, and I'm like, "What was that?" I was like, it's starting to itch, and I'm like, "Oh, maybe it was just like I had a bad dream." And next thing you know, it's just like right up there, bro. It was rough.
Yeah,
so thank
smelling
you for
salts
backing
is
me
rough.
up. But
You're
of
welcome, no
course,
problem.
continued success. I love you to death,
Thanks,
bro.
man. I
Keep
love you
going,
too, bro.
man. And yeah, so everybody watching at home on YouTube, be sure to like the video, share the video, and do all that good shit as these guys continue to try to build this brand off
right.
of Chop Sports.
All right, guys. I'm looking at 2 belts. He's got to defend one of them. So we will see you next week when I have a brand new belt.
Hey, you never know.
See you later, guys.
I
Tune in.
appreciate you guys bringing me on, man. Thank
man.
you.
Thank
All
you
right.
very much.